Hey friends, and welcome back to our channel, or welcome if you're new here. We're going to talk about 5 downsides to living in Salt Lake City, Utah, or 5 reasons why you might not want to move here to Salt Lake. Now, some of the things we talk about on this list are going to be an issue for some people and maybe not an issue for other people. But we're just going to talk about some of the downsides to living here and what we've seen in our day-to-day life. Now, we may have talked about some of these before, but it's always good to go a little bit more in depth with some of our own personal experiences, with maybe some of the cons of living in Salt Lake.
So with that being said, if you are thinking about making a move here to Salt Lake City or any of the surrounding areas, or even the entire state of Utah, then make sure to reach out to us. Our information is always down in that description box. Call, text, or email us anytime. We love to hear from you guys. We've literally helped people from all across the world move here to our beautiful state, and we would love to help you too.
If this is your first time to this channel and you want to know everything about living, eating, sleeping, working, and playing in Northern Utah, then subscribe below and tap the bell for notifications so you can be the first to know about the current market here in Northern Utah.
We are Sloan and Kim Peterson with the Peterson Group, and we've been in the real estate business for 10 years, and every day we help people just like you looking to buy, sell, invest, and relocate here in Northern Utah. Whether you're moving in 9 days or 90 days, give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email. All of our information is in that description box below, so we can help you make that smooth transition here to Northern Utah.
Okay, so the first thing on our list is Salt Lake City's proximity to other major cities in terms of short travel. What I mean by that is, could you road trip to any one of our national parks from Salt Lake City? Absolutely. But could you do it in one day? No. Most of our major travel destinations here in Utah would take, at the minimum, a weekend or a couple of days to travel to. Now, if you're moving to St. George, that's a different story. If you lived in St. George, you could go to all the national parks and even to Vegas for just a day. But from Salt Lake, Zion's is approximately 4 hours away. Vegas is 6 hours by car. Going the other direction, Boise is about 6 hours away from Salt Lake, and Denver would be about an 8-hour drive. So in terms of going to another major city by vehicle, you're looking at some significant travel time. So for people that do like to take day trips into major cities, Salt Lake might not be the best place to reside. But on a smaller scale, you do have Antelope State Park, which is 30 minutes away from Salt Lake, as well as a number of museums, shopping, and dining right in the city itself. So it kind of just depends on what you're looking for.
All right, now this one we haven't really touched on, but that is if you are a big fan of some moody, rainy days, then Salt Lake's probably not going to be the place for you. Like we talked about in our other videos, Salt Lake and Utah as a whole is actually a pretty sunny state, and we're the second driest state only to Nevada. Salt Lake only gets 91 days of precipitation a year, but keep in mind that includes snow, sleet, and rain, and as you know, we get heavy snowfall here in Utah, so very few of those days are actually going to be rainy days. So if you do enjoy a nice downpour, or to sit in a coffee shop on a gray, rainy day, Salt Lake probably isn't going to be the top of your list of places to move.
Now, we've touched on this con before, but for a lot of people relocating to Salt Lake, an adjustment might be our store hours or when things are open. Things typically close a lot earlier here in Salt Lake than other major cities, and a lot of our shopping and restaurants are closed on Sundays because of the religious influence here in Utah. Now, that's only been made worse since a certain pandemic a few years ago, and things never really bounced back from that. In fact, we were going to eat someplace downtown a couple nights ago, and it closed at 8. If you're late eaters like Sloan and I are, that is an adjustment you'll have to make, either eating earlier or getting takeout more often, because places here do tend to close a little earlier. In terms of our fast food, a lot of places used to be 24 hours, but I've noticed more often even those places are closing at midnight. Just something to consider if you are a late night or Sunday shopper.
This next one is something that we do talk about often in all of our videos, and we've even dedicated whole videos to it, but that's perfect weather days here in Utah. We have very, very few days of weather that what most people would consider perfect. What we mean by that is we have very few low to mid 70s days, and a lot of our days here are really hot and dry or really, really cold. We do get 4 seasons here in Utah, but the transition days tend to only last a short while before we're onto that extreme hot or the extreme cold weather. So if you do like more mild temperatures, then maybe Salt Lake isn't the place for you. One thing I will say is that if you live here for an extended period of time, you do become accustomed to the weather swings, although some people always do hate it.
And last, we want to talk about Salt Lake's entertainment options. Now, in terms of outdoor recreation, we're unmatched here in Utah. But if you're not super outdoorsy and going to a ton of concerts or plays or things like that is more up your alley, you might be disappointed, as Salt Lake doesn't have as many options as other big cities. As far as sports, we have professional basketball and soccer teams, and that's it. So if you're used to being able to go out every night and go to something different aside from a bar or something like that, it's not as diverse here in Salt Lake. Although, as we always say, it is a city that is always growing and developing and bringing in more things. So we're starting to get there.
All right, guys, that wraps up the 5 downsides that you might experience when moving here to Salt Lake City, Utah. Please keep in mind, though, that these are just facts about living here in the city. They may not be bad for everyone. It's just best to know what you're moving into before you go ahead and make that leap. And if you ever have any questions or want more information, again, reach out. Our contact information is always in that description box below.
Picking where you'll call home is an important decision, and we would love to help you make that smooth transition to cities like Salt Lake and the surrounding areas. If you're looking to purchase in the northern Utah area, we would love to help you out. Give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email. And as always, we are keeping it real. Estate.